मूल निवासी सभ्यता एवं कलाचार के सम्मान में लाखों कार्यकर्ताओं का आगाज, विचार गोष्ठी, साहित्य प्रदर्शनी, चलचित्र प्रदर्शनी, गीत, संगीत, अभिनय, नृत्य कार्यक्रम, खानपान प्रदर्शनी और खेल कौशल प्रदर्शनी के माध्यम से मूल निवासियों के सम्मान में मूल निवासी सभ्यता का आगाज। मूल निवासी सभ्यता संघ का पहला राष्ट्रीय अधिवेशन नागसेन वन परिसर, मिलिंद महाविद्यालय, संभाजीनगर, औरंगाबाद, महाराष्ट्र, 26 एवं 27 अक्टूबर 2022। आइए हमारे महामानवों के सपनों का भारत स्थापित करने के लिए शामिल हो।
जय भीम, जय मूल निवासी, जय संविधान, जय भारत. Once again, welcome you all to MNT News Network's special prime time session. As today is Sunday, and as all of you are aware that every Sunday we are organizing the discussions in English, specifically considering the southern part of India as well as the international viewers are considered. For them, we are organizing this session in English on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. and on other days we are organizing the session in Hindi. Also, we are going with various local languages also, depending on the time schedule and their frequency of organizing this. But every Sunday we are organizing this particular session in English. And today also we are going to discuss a very important topic. So those who have joined through Facebook, a request from MNT News Network to share this this video link on their timeline so that everybody on their social network will get the notification, and they will also be a part of this very important discussion. Today we are going to discuss about the economic status, economic policies for the Mul Nivasis, for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other backward classes. So this is a very important topic, and we had a very distinguished guest speaker along with us who will give his views. He's specifically economist, so definitely his views will be very important. So those who have joined through YouTube, are a special request to like, comment and share this particular video so that all who are in the network will get a link and they will be able to get this particular information on this particular channel. Today, as I said, we are going to discuss about India's 75 years of independence and the economic policies, how and where they stand. Today on this particular topic, we had our guest with us, Dr. P.S. Kamble sir. Sir, Jai Bhim, Jai Mul Nivasi, Jai Sanvidhan, Jai Bharat. Welcome to MNT News Network Studio, sir. We are really thankful. We are really thankful to you for joining today on this very important topic, which is related with Indian economy. So basically, as I told, India is celebrating its 75 years of democratic existence from 1947 to 2022. And the Union government had designated this celebration as Amrut Mahotsav. So 75 years of existence of India as an Amrut Mahotsav, a specific program that has been launched. And as the country waves flag and celebrate the 75th anniversary of India's independence, it is also time to take a stock where the economic condition of India, as far as the Mul Nivasi, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and the backward classes are considered. What did India's founders and the citizens dream of, and how has India fared? What have been our challenges and what are the successes? As we see, when India was independent in 1947, the GDP was at rupees almost 2.7 lakh crore during the time of independence. And now if we see, it has rose to 150 lakh crore. So definitely after 75 years, there is a significant jump from 2.7 lakh crore to 150 lakh crore. So in this economic jump, let us see where the social economic policy stands, because that is where the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and other backward classes people's their voice is concerned. So this is the topic that we are going to discuss: India at 75 and policies ahead. So, sir, first we would like to know from you about these 75 years of economic existence from as an economist eye. How do you see this economic condition of India after 75 years of independence? Please give brief to our viewers, sir.
Ashish, first of all, I'm very much thankful to you and all viewers. I must thank MNT English for organizing such a wonderful program to assess where we are at the 75 years of independence. Actually, when we look at, already have mentioned that we are celebrating Amrut Mahotsav. Yes, 75 years is a longer period for any country, and really it's a thing of joy and happiness as well. So we should wholeheartedly celebrate Amrut Mahotsav, 75 years of independence of India. Already you have mentioned that it's also a high time, it's also proper time to take a stock of where Indian development has been taken place or India is there so far as development of India is concerned. And when we try to examine and analyze and assess development of India, when I am referred to development of India, it can have two dimensions or aspects. Number one is economic dimension or economic aspect, and another is social dimension. Total development of the entire country, development of entire country is made up of economic development as well as social development. And we have to look at in the real sense of meaning. Really, it's a time to celebrate Amrut Mahotsav in the positive sense of meaning, or only just it is formality and no connection with Amrut Mahotsav. Amrut Mahotsav is a happiness thing. It's happy thing. Whether all and one and all in the country being citizen of India are celebrating Amrut Mahotsav wholeheartedly. They are happy and they are satisfactory. As the result of that, they are wholeheartedly participating in the celebration of the Amrut Mahotsav, that is 75 years of independence, that requires to be assessed, that requires to be examined. So far as my lecture is concerned, today's my lecture is concerned, I will try to place before you in what direction the development of India is taking place. And when I am referring to development, it is comprising of both economic development as well as social development. And at the same time, I will also try to touch upon what is actually the social stratification of development that is there, both that of economic and social as well. What is the access to the social strata of the society, especially socially deprived communities in the overall socio-economic development of the economy. These are necessary to be taken into consideration. Talking about development of India, that is economic as well as social, we can divide the total period or entire period. Number one is into pre-independence, post-independence, planning period, and after 91 onwards, and the latest 22. All of us know before independence there was a rule of British government before up to 1947. Yeah, up to 1947, that is before independence. The then British government didn't try much for the overall development of the economy. And the reason was simple. The reason was that Britishers wanted to realize and achieve rapid and overall development of the British economy, British people, British society, and not that of India. An entire analysis of all this pre-independence overall development of the economy that we get in a very reputed international economist, Dr. Ambedkar. He has analyzed how the pre-independence Indian economy was there and what were the policies and direction of overall development of the Indian economy in the pre-independence period was there. To some extent, Dadabhai Nauroji and others also contributed in depicting the picture of pre-independence India. But prominently, the efforts have been made by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar because he was an international economist of repute. and he was also policy maker. In his MA dissertation, in his PhD thesis, he has tried to analyze, even in DSC thesis also, and on the many occasions, being part and parcel of policy making during 42 to 46 in the Viceroy government's cabinet. He has analyzed that how the policies of the British government were exclusively in favor of development of British economy, Britishers, British society, and it was against the development of Indian economy. Because of the policies of the Britishers, agriculture couldn't develop, industry sector couldn't develop, welfare, social welfare couldn't realize, because to that extent they wanted to exploit and utilize Indian economy for the development of British economy and not for the development of Indian economy or Indian. That was the reality. And consequently, in the pre-independence period, agriculture was underdeveloped, industry was underdeveloped, prominently social sector was underdeveloped. No doubt, to some extent, efforts were made, but just it was like showing that we are endeavoring efforts. That was the reality. When in 1947, but before that, I must give a reference of during 42 to 1946, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was cabinet minister of three portfolios. One was water resource minister, energy or power minister, and labor minister. And being minister of three cabinet portfolios or departments, Dr. Ambedkar played a very important role in the development of water resources, in the development of power resources, in the development of welfare of the labor, especially emphasis on gender development, that is women development. But when the background of development was laid down by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar during 1942 to 46 as a cabinet minister in the Viceroy portfolio, Viceroy ministries, as a labor minister, as a power minister, as a water minister. The foundation of planning was also laid by Dr. Ambedkar. But when India became independent, the interference or the participation of Dr. Ambedkar a little bit different. Actually, in independence, he got the portfolio of labor minister, that law minister, but he actually wanted planning and finance, but he didn't get. So his participation in the overall development a little bit it was withered away. But the foundation was laid, and those policies were implemented in the post-independence period, especially in the planning period. The first 5 plan was exactly what Dr. Ambedkar wanted to carry out in the pre-independence period. Before independence, there was not much growth or development of India. But after 1947 to 1950, the growth was improved. It was 3.5%, and satirically, it was described as it was a Hindu growth rate, 3.5%. But when we adopted planning in 1950 and 1951, the first 5 plan implementation started. Since then, the process of development started or it improved. But the growth took place of India in the growth rate of GDP growth rate of 5 to 5%. After 91 onwards, there was economic crisis in India, fiscal crisis in India, international crisis in India, and consequently we went for economic reforms comprising of privatization, liberalization, globalization. No doubt that improved growth of the economy, no doubt that made dynamic economic growth of the economy. But only so we started sticking up to only growth and all other dimensions of development comprising of social dimension, especially education, health, employment, poverty, inequality, we exclusively neglected. And after 2014 onwards, their intensities and gravities have been very significantly increased. So far as overall growth of the Indian economy in the post-independence period is concerned, suppose in 1950-51, all of us know we measure economic growth of any economy, any country, in terms of GDP, that is gross domestic product or national income. I will cite some data in support of my arguments, in support of my propositions. so that the viewers or audience can well equipped with what I am trying to communicate to them. It is not only vague statements full of data support I am having, but some statistical data I will try to present place before them, so that that will be in support of my arguments and propositions and statements. Talking about economic growth of India, yes, we realized growth. Already I have mentioned that before independence, not much efforts were made. Some efforts were made for the socio-economic development of the economy, but rigorous, honest, sincere efforts were not there, because British economy or Britishers were not thinking in that direction. They wanted their development. They wanted welfare of the Britishers, British community, British society. So in that direction, their policies were there, and policies couldn't help us in development of agriculture and industry. Some infrastructure development took place, some social development took place, but it was inadequate compared to the population and the geographical area covered by the Indian economy is concerned. After 47 onwards, yes, during 42-46 efforts were made, but since then the process started, and after 1947 it was little bit improved. In the real sense of meaning, our development, especially economic growth, started improving and increasing after 1950-51, that is in the planning period, in the first 5 plan. And when we look at some statistical data, in 1950-51, our national income was at current prices 4,48,483 crores. And recently, if it is taken into account up to 1990-91, our growth of GDP was, that national income was 2 crore 22 lakh 92,078 crore. And recent data for 21-22 tells us that our national income at current prices was 2 crore 5 lakh 73,371 crore. You can imagine, from 1,000 to crores to crores, in crores of rupees, our national income, which is estimated in gross, that net national income, that has increased. It was at constant prices. Another measure of economic growth of any country, any economy, that is per capita income. And per capita income of India in 1950-51, as per current prices, per capita income of India was 12,493. In 1991, per capita income of India was 27,319. And as per the latest data, 21-22, per capita income of India was 1,50,326. So GDP is increasing, national income is increasing, per capita income is also increasing. So far as growth rates are taken into account, that also gives a clear picture of how economic growth of India is increasing, it is improving, it has become dynamic. Some data in support of how the growth has been momentum so far as Indian economy is concerned. In 1982-83, the national income of India at current prices grew at the rate of 11%. Grew at the rate of 11%, you can imagine. In 1991, the national income of India at current prices grew at the rate of 16.7%. In 15-16, national income of India at current prices grew at the rate of 8%, and in 21-22, national income of India grew at the rate of 9.4%. There is an impact of COVID impact is there. So far as the growth rate of per capita income is taken into account, we find that in 1980-83, per capita income of India grew at the rate of what I would say, it is 0.7% in 80 to 83, in 1991 3.1%, in 15-16 it was 9.4%, and in 21-22 per capita income of India at current prices grew at the rate of 6.7%. What does this mean? This means that economic growth of India has been momentum. It has become dynamic after 91 onwards. During 47 to 50, it was a meager growth. After 1951 to 90, it was moderate growth. But after 1991, it was rapid growth, significant growth. Yes, there were fluctuations, ups and downs were there, and consequently, that food grains have been increased. Contributions of other productive sectors, when those are taken into account, we will get an idea that Indian economy is growing. Indian economy is growing. If the sectoral growth is taken into account, we will get an idea. In 50-51, the contribution of agriculture to the GDP of India was 53%. And in 15-16, the contribution of agriculture to GDP of India declined to 15.4%. So far as contribution of industry sector is concerned, it was 16.6% in 50-51, and in 15-16 it was 31.4%. So far as service sector contribution to the GDP of India is concerned, in 50-51 it was 30%. In 1915-16 it was 53%. This means that even though we introduced India as agriculture country, yes, our dependence on agriculture as a means of livelihood is there, as a means of employment is there. Today also more than 60% population is depending upon agriculture as a source of livelihood. It can be debatable to that extent. Involvement of the people or population is required as a source of livelihood. That can be a point of debate. For me, that is not required, because other sources of employment generation are not there. So people are participating in agriculture. In economics terms, it is known as disguised unemployment. It is called as disguised unemployment. It is a type of unemployment, even though we are saying it is employment. But the development or growth of the Indian economy is prominently contributed by service sector, that is services, that requires to be taken into consideration. What is the latest position? What is the latest position so far as the contributions of agriculture industry and service sector to the growth of Indian economy is concerned? I will cite the data for 21-22. Agriculture is contributing only 18.8% share, not 20% also. But the dependence as a source of livelihood or employment is more than 60%. Over dependence is there on agriculture as the source of livelihood, and industry is contributing only 28% share in GDP of India, and service sector is contributing more than 50% share in the GDP of India. This means that we are exclusively depending upon service sector so far as growth is concerned. But we are excessively depending upon agriculture as the source of livelihood, as the source of employment. Yes, capital formation is increasing, savings are increasing, investment is increasing, but there is a scope so far as the improvement in savings, investment, and capital formation is concerned, that is there. This is what the scenario of economic growth in the pre-independence period after 1941, prominently after 51, and exclusively after 91 to 21-22 is concerned. For me, yes, Indian economy is growing, but what is social dimension? Because it is not only economic growth is that sufficient and adequate. Who are the beneficiaries of the growth that is taking place? That is of crucial importance. And as Dr. Ambedkar has rightly pointed out, that education plays a very important role in overall development of the economy. What is the status of education? What is the scenario of health? That also requires to be taken into consideration, because his book 1947, States and Minorities, he tells us that health is very important and everybody should have a insurance policy, life insurance. Everybody should have that policy. In that perspective, when we look at social dimension, First of all, talking about the expenditure of government on social development. So far as education is concerned, government is spending, both central government and state government, spending on education 3.1% of GDP. In 1966, Kothare Commission recommended to the government of India expenditure on education should be at least 6% of GDP. But in 21-22, both central government and state governments are spending 3.1% of GDP. Like education, health is very important, because education and health are public services. Those are social goods and services. And expenditure on health is 1.8% of GDP in 2021. And recently, the government has proposed to spend 2.1% of GDP on health because of Corona pandemic, and because of one of the committees recommended to the government of India that our expenditure on health should be at least 2.2% of GDP, and consequently, it is proposed in the budget for 21-22 that is there. Consequently, in this perspective, when we look at the indicators of health and education, that gives us an idea how health and education is there, because health and education is very important so far as social development of India is concerned. Fertility rate has decreased 3.4% to 2% from 1993 to 1991. Sex ratio has improved a little bit to 919 to 929. Actually, infant mortality rate is significant today also. Previously, it was 7.8%. Now it is 3.5%. So infant mortality rate at this moment is also about 4%, and it is not good. Then under 5 mortality rate, previously it was 10%, now it is 4%. 4% is excessive. Among pregnant women in the age group 15 to 49, the percentage of anemia is 52% at this moment. When it is taken into account, that gives us an idea that on health front, even in Corona pandemic, or since Corona pandemic, we are endeavoring rigorously, honestly, we didn't succeed much so far as health development is concerned. And the basic reason is that our health sector is dominated by the private sector. Public sector participation is there in the health, but it is meager, it is meager, and it is inadequate, it is not efficient, and it is not satisfactory. You might be knowing public health institutions are there, hospitals are there, no modern equipments are there, no adequate doctors are there, no adequate paramedical staff is there, and prominently government spending less. But we have specialty hospital, super specialty hospital, multi-specialty hospital, whose access is not there for the poor strata of the society, socio-economically deprived communities in the economy, because as we enter into hospitals, specialty, super specialty, multi-specialty, 1 lakh rupees are required to register a patient. Doctor charges, hospital charges, test charges, medicine, etc., that is different. And it is not affordable to the social strata of the society, deprived communities in the society. That is a ground reality. And health education, medical education is very excessive. It is very expensive. A few government colleges are there, and prominently private colleges are there, in which fees are in lakhs of rupees, crores of rupees, and donations are in billions of rupees. And Bahujan is not in a position, socio-economically deprived communities are not in a position to get access to medical education. And when a person becomes doctor in such an environment, how he will work for a social service? How he will provide health services as a social service? Because we cannot expect. He has spent crores of rupees and billions of rupees, and consequently is not in a position to provide health services as a social services. That is a ground reality. Talking about education, already I have mentioned that only less than 3%, less than 4% of expenditure that we are incurring on education. And consequently, as the result of that, what is happening? Participation in education in general, and higher education is particular, it is very inadequate. It is very inadequate, and there is a very biasness is there. So the latest participation, not in education, in higher education, we find that it is 27%. But the breakup of participation in higher education tells us that male participation is 21.6%, female participation is 18.69%, scheduled caste participation is only 14.5%, scheduled tribe participation is only 10.8%, and in the higher education, maximum participation is up to 79%, undergraduate, post-graduation only 12%, research only 1%. One of the studies was carried out by Professor Basant and Sen relating to what is the potentiality to participate in higher education and what actual participation is there in higher education. And it was across the social groups as well as for the entire country, for the nation as a whole. And the results are eye-openers. For in the age group 17 to 29, potentiality to participate in higher education for the entire country is 40.42%, but actual participation for the entire country is only 10.44%. So there is a gap of 30%. For scheduled caste, potentiality is 43%, but actual participation is 6.43%. For scheduled tribes, potentiality is 34%, and actual participation is 4%. For Muslim minorities, potentiality to participate in higher education is 40.55%, and actual participation is only 6%. This gives us an idea how there is a mismatch between potentiality to participate in higher education and actual participation in higher education. Our gross enrollment ratio in higher education is only 27%. It is more than 70-75% for the developed countries that requires to be taken into consideration. Actually, we are privatizing education, we are privatizing health sector, and that is adversely affecting the participation of the socio-economically deprived communities in the education in general and higher education in particular. So the socially deprived communities are depriving from the participation in education in general and higher education in particular. Consequently, there is a wide disparity in participation in education in general and higher education in particular across the social groups, as well as male and female participation is also concerned. Recently only we have Human Development Index report and Hunger Development Index report, and it is a simple thing that even India thinking about $5 trillion economy, we are thinking about Vishwaguru. In hunger index, we are very much deteriorated. We are very much hampered, and Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh are ahead to India, both in Human Development Index as well as starvation index, hunger index. Recently in 22 that is published. While talking about social development, APJ Abdul Kalam, former president of India, actually he was not politician, he was scientist. He is famous for missile man, as a missile man, and he wrote one book, Economic Supremacy of India by 2020, and the justification which APJ Abdul Kalam gave, that was India is a young country. In the age group 17 to 29, more than 60% population is there, that is young population, and it is engine of growth. And when it is used productively, when it is used for development of the economy, definitely Indian economic supremacy is possible. Economic supremacy can be realized, that is there. But unfortunately, our policy didn't took them very seriously, and consequently, on education front, what is happening? On health front, what is happening? Already I have mentioned. We didn't pay that attention required to use the engine of growth for productive purposes, for growth purposes, and consequently, unemployment has become very severe. Unemployment has become very intensive, and as the result of that, we find that rate of unemployment during the corona pandemic, that is April 20, it was 25%. It was 25%, and now it is about 10%. Economic theory tells us that rate of unemployment up to 3% is bearable, it is affordable, which is known as natural rate of unemployment that can remain in any country because of the policy change, because of the taste and habits of the people change. It is because of the demand for commodities and services change. But at this moment, the rate of unemployment is 10%. It is higher for the females. It is higher for the socially deprived communities like scheduled caste, scheduled tribes than all others, and consequently, it is also higher across the states also. I will cite some data for Goa. Rate of unemployment is 16%. For Haryana, it is 18%. For Rajasthan, it is 18%, and for Tripura, it is 18%. That is rate of unemployment. In 2016, the NSSO declared one report, and in that report, rate of unemployment was only 6.2%, and it was the highest in last 45 years. But at this moment, rate of unemployment is 10%, more than 10%, and it is a thing of serious concern. It is very serious. It is very severe for the socio-economically deprived communities, for like scheduled caste, scheduled tribes that is there, and that plays a very important role. We didn't pay that attention toward employment generation. Consequently, poverty is severe in India. Even we are not serious in defining and identifying poor people in India, because the poverty line that India is having, it is very inadequate. As per the recent poverty line defined in 2014, a person getting rupees 47 per day per capita in urban area is not poor, and in rural area it is 32 rupees per day per capita. He is not poor. He is above the poverty line. International poverty line is 2.50 US dollars, and all of us know the rate of exchange between Indian rupee and American dollar is 82 rupees. If 80 rupees are taken into account, more than 200 rupees is poverty line in abroad or foreign countries, but we have less than 50 rupees. Even that is taken into account, crores of people are poor, are below the poverty line. And every country in the world or across the countries in the globe trying for realizing sustainable development goals. And one of the sustainable development goals is zero poverty, and that to be realized by 2030. And at this moment, poverty is in crores. Recently, only multidimensional poverty index report has been published by Niti Aayog, and that report tells us that poverty intensity as per multidimensional poverty index is 25. We are 140 crore population. 25%, it is about 50 crore population is multidimensionally poor. If that is taken into account, when in coming, how we are going to realize zero poverty in coming 7 to 8 years, that is $1 billion question. So poverty is increasing. On the one hand, growth is taking place. On the other hand, unemployment is increasing. Then the question that arises is where that growth is going. Who are deriving the benefits of the fruits of economic growth that India is realizing or it is materializing? And the answer is that inequalities are growing very rapidly and significantly. Inequalities are growing very rapidly and significantly. Whatever growth is realized, whatever growth is achieved, that is unequally being distributed. It is unequally being distributed. Some data relating to economic inequalities I will try to place before you. That will give us an idea. Economic growth is taking place, but the fruits of growth are not reaching to all strata of the society, to every citizen of the society. All of us know Constitution gives right to survive, right to life. Everybody has right to survive. Everybody has right to life in the country, and it is the sole responsibility of the government to provide for survival of every citizen, every individual in the country. But unfortunately, when the poverty is taken into account, when unemployment is taken into account, we are depriving. When hunger is taken into account, when the status of human development is taken into account, we are depriving major strata of the society, lion's share of the population, and that is against the constitution. It is violation of the I would say the principle or the soul of the constitution. Actually, soul is unscientific. It has no meaning at all. But we can look at soul in a scientific way. Soul in the sense of central idea. It is not unscientific, or in that perspective, we do not look at soul. Soul of the constitution is being violating because a major strata of the society is deprived from employment opportunities, deprived from education, deprived from health, deprived from the property, deprived from assets and everything that is taking place. So one report was published in 2017 by Oxfam, and that Oxfam report tells us that 73% share of the total wealth is concentrated in the hands of 1% richest strata of the society. 1% households have purchased 73% share of the wealth in the country as per 2017 data. In 2018, again, Oxfam published a report, and that report tells us that Gini coefficient of wealth, which measures inequality of wealth, it is increasing very rapidly and significantly. In 2018, it was 81%. In 2008, it was 18%. In 2018, it was 85%. So wealth inequalities are increasing. All of us know Corona pandemic very adversely affected poor strata of the society. But even growth took place, and the benefits of growth concentrated again in the richest strata of the society. All of us know how the problems of migrant laborers were there, how the problems of working in the informal sector employment was there, how the problems of survival was there for the poor strata of the society. But during the Corona pandemic period, that is in 2021 also, the growth took place, and that growth concentrated in the hands of few households, few families only. And in the period of 1 year, 13 billionaire we added in the total list of billionaires, 13 families. So we have at this moment 130 billionaire families, and that we added during the Corona pandemic period. That is, growth is taking place, but the fruits are not being distributed among the social strata of the society. And the latest data, 2022, tells us that 50% poor families have share in the national income of India only 13%. And 50% poor families have share in the total wealth of India only 6%. But 10% richest families have share in the total income of India 57%, and share in the wealth of India, that is 65%. Growth is taking place, but it is not being distributed across the social strata of the society, and therefore unemployment is increasing, poverty is increasing, inequalities are increasing. Growth is taking place, but it is concentrating in the hands of only the richest strata of the society. On this occasion, I should speak on what is the scenario of the socio-economic deprived communities like scheduled caste, scheduled tribes. That also I must speak. Talking about the share of uh, uh, share of that upper strata community share in the total wealth is 45%, and their share in the total population is only 21%. OBC's share in wealth is 31%, and their share in population is 36%. So far as scheduled caste is concerned, their share in wealth is 7%, and their share in total population is 19%. This gives us an idea how the scheduled caste as a socially deprived community is suffering from inequalities in wealth. 44% scheduled caste families are engaged in as agriculture labor, and that proportion is 26% for the OBCs, and for upper strata, upper community, it is only 11%. Again, talking about the participation in education and other social aspects, that is also of crucial importance to be taken into consideration. And that gives us an idea what is participation of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and OBCs in education. If secondary and higher secondary education is taken into account, 97% participation of the upper caste students is there. It is only 73% for scheduled caste, 80% for OBCs, and for scheduled caste in 2018-19, higher education participation is only 21%, but for upper caste it is 43%, and for OBCs it is 29%. This gives us an idea so far as housing is concerned. For scheduled caste, only 18% population is staying in houses. For OBCs, it is only 6.7%, 11%. For scheduled tribes, it is only 6.7%, and 13% population of scheduled caste is staying in slum areas. That proportion is 6% for OBCs and only 4.6% for upper caste. That gives us an idea how the social inequalities are there so far as participation in education, participation in housing, participation in health, participation in employment is concerned. So this gives an idea how there is a disparity, how there is inequality as growth is taking place. Yes, we are trying for $1 million economy. We are trying for $5 trillion economy, but we are not trying for how the growth that we have realized to be distributed equally. Equity can be brought about, justice can be done, justice can be given, especially to the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBCs, minorities, that is not taking place, and that is the ground realities so far as socio-economic development of the Indian economy is concerned. We are privatizing education, we are privatizing health, and the victims are socio-economically deprived communities, that is scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBCs and minorities. These are the victims. Consequently, unemployment is higher, poverty is higher, the concentration of wealth and income is very meager, and it is higher for the upper strata of the society. That is also ground reality. Again, we are inequalities are bringing by privatization, and we are implementing new education policy 2020. That is again very exclusive. Rural student will be out of education stream. Scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBCs will be out of stream of the education because more focus is there on the privatization. Withering away of the government is there. That policy says government is expected to spend 6% of GDP expenditure on education, not on higher education, entire education. It was recommended in 1966 by the Kottare Commission. That is the ground reality. So growth is taking place, but development is not taking place. The benefits or fruits of growth are not being distributed equally. Justice is not brought about, but Constitution says every citizen has a right to life. Every citizen has a right to live, and it is the sole responsibility of the government to provide for survival, not luxurious life, not comfortable life, but survival. But survival has become a problem for the scheduled caste, for the scheduled tribes, for the rural people, for the OBCs, for the minorities, and that is the ground reality. And in the name of reforms, just we are reforming, just we are privatizing, just we are trying for liberalization, just we are trying for globalization. Growth is taking place because of such policies, but growth is concentrating, income is concentrating, wealth is concentrating, consumption is concentrating in the hands of few families, and the number of billionaire families is increasing. At the same time, the number of poor families is increasing. At the same time, the families not having income and wealth that is increasing. That's a ground reality.
Yes, sir, right, right, point of it. Definitely, as far as the 75 years of independence is considered, India is growing, Indian economy is growing, but as rightly explained and elaborated by you, sir, definitely major population who is the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and other backward classes, they are not part of this growth, and they are still deprived. And the future also, if such type of policies are continued, then the gap between the economic gap between the poor and the rich, that will again get increased and strengthened. And though India will grow, but the Indians, the Mul Nivasis, the scheduled caste scheduled tribe, and other backward classes, who are almost 85% of the population, their economic situation and criteria will not go. Sir, it's really a very informative topic today, and you had elaborated much on the entire covering and the entire scope, the entire development right from the beginning of 1947 till date of 2022. The entire 75 years you had covered, and you had pointed out what needs to be done, what needs to be taken care in the current scenario. Sir, on behalf of MNT News Network, I am really thankful to you for coming, joining today on MNT News Network studio and elaborating and explaining our viewers the scenario behind the development of scheduled caste scheduled tribe and other backward classes. Thank you very much, sir. We will again invite you on some other day, some other topic, and hope you will again rejoin us and explain our viewers, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. It was really my pleasure. Thank you, one and all. Thank you, viewers. Thank you, Ashish. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So it was Professor P.S. Kamble, sir, who had joined today and explained us about the economic condition of the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and other backward classes are considered. So it was a really a very nice discussion, and this video will be there on this particular link, so you can request all your network people to watch this video, watch this very informative video, because information is a tool, information is a weapon, and if you have proper information, definitely you can be part of any discussion anywhere in the world, and you can win if you have a data with you. So with the help of this data, it will be really helpful to you to discuss on the real problem, real aspects of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and other classes. So thank you very much for joining today. And tomorrow, it is Monday, and tomorrow we will be having panel discussion in Hindi. So tomorrow we are going to discuss about the organization BAMSEF and its limitations. So the topic for discussion tomorrow is BAMSEF क्यों एक गैर राजनीतिक, गैर धार्मिक और गैर संगठनात्मक संगठन है? Why BAMSEF is non-political, non-religious, and non-agitational organization is the topic that we are going to discuss tomorrow. And the panelist who we had invited is Mul Nivasi Dr. Sanjay Ingoli, who is National General Secretary of BAMSEF. So be with us and be joined tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. So that this important discussion, you will be part of that one. Thank you very much for joining today. Jai Bhim, Jai Mul Nivasi, Jai Samvidhan, Jai Bharat.
In Aurangabad district of Maharashtra, India, under the umbrella of the World Heritage of Ajanta and Ellora, at Nagasen Forest area, in the revolutionary land of Milan College, first National Convention of Mul Nivasi Sabhyata Sangh has been organized on 26th and 27th October 2022, whose grand divinity is becoming an example and is going to establish history itself in the form of historical milestone. Distinguished artists from different states of the country shall join and participate with their voice and with their artistic civilization. You can feel the gravity of the program through this main gate entrance. This land, spread in hundreds of acres, belongs to People's Education Society, founded by Baba Saheb Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. On this historical land, this convention is going to happen. In this 2 days convention, there will be an inaugural session, cultural program, film festival, literature, melodious song, painting and arts, followed with unique performances from all over India. This convention shall be inaugurated by well-known film director M. Karunakumar. The central place of the venue will have a victory pillar representing the struggle of civilization. At this place, Rangoli, photo exhibition, traditional businesses and symbols related to the indigenous civilization will be displayed. This is an artistic forum where talented artists from different states will present thereat, through which the mother tongue spoken by different states, knowledge of dance and tradition of each state will be known. This will help an important role in building brotherhood. Now we are moving towards the venue of film festival. As you are aware, this medium is the most effective and powerful medium of mass communication. In this film festival, documentaries, short films will be screened whose focal point will be in society and nation building. Any philosophy, doctrine can't be digested with empty stomach. Realizing this, food stalls have been arranged. These food stalls has characteristics of tasting the food from every nook and corner of the country. There will be no exaggeration in saying that music and art of medieval age of India was of golden era. This has been proved by Sant Kabir, Ravidas Maharaj, Guru Nanak Dev Ji and other saints from different parts of the country. Today also, it is of utmost importance. Considering its importance today and its historical background, different artistic and cultural programs has been organized. In these cultural programs, there will be rap songs, traditional songs, folk dances, literature, brainstorming discussions are organized which will help in bringing awareness among participants. The main objective of this national convention is to make aware all the indigenous people of the country about their glorious civilization, glorious tradition, glorious culture and rejuvenate and reinstate of their lost history. For this, we require your support and active participation is required. We believe that this Sabhyata will be rejuvenated Sabhyata of modern world.